Well, I think yen is still the safe haven of amongst all G10 currencies. I would pick yen, Swiss franc, and then probably the US dollar. I mean, clearly there's some more political noise domestically in the US, which is making people a little bit concerned. But I think compared to the EM markets, for example, I would still think that dollar is still a safe haven, relatively.
Well, is it really the political noise that's going to drive the dollar? Is it, economic fundamentals, Fed monetary policy that's a bigger driver? Because, at this juncture, of course, the political rhetoric is weighing on the US dollar. But going ahead, what's your view on what the Fed is going to do? Because that clearly is something that will drive where the dollar is headed.
Exactly. I think last week's data from the US was very important, right? I think the key message that we are getting from the US is that the economy is still doing quite well, but there's no signs of inflation. You had Q2 GDP numbers coming at around 3%, but then core PCE inflation was actually lower. And that was again sort of supported by the payrolls number, where average hourly earnings disappointed. So I think we are really getting into a situation where the US economy might just continue to do quite well, but given that the lack of inflation in the US and in fact elsewhere in the world, the Fed is not going to be aggressive in tightening policy.
And dollar will continue to suffer.
Exactly. And as a result of that, the dollar will suffer not just against G10, but also against emerging market currencies, because global growth is actually holding up quite well. You have US at 3%, Japan growing at 4%, China just under 7%, and Eurozone above 2%. And there's no inflation still, and no one is rushing to tighten policy. I think that's great for EM assets, it's great for EM FX.